All right, Northcentral Connected, your North Central Electric Cooperative podcast. It is May, and we are here to talk about one thing and one thing only, and that is Northcentral Connect. We are one person short, so we are joined by our CEO and General Manager, Kevin Doddridge.
Hello, how's everybody?
And our Director of Marketing and Business Development, Michael Bellapani.
Hey, Justin.
And I am Justin Jaggers, your media specialist. JD is out, I guess, tending to the new crop of linemen out there at our training yard.
Yeah, a combination of that, and we didn't invite him. We didn't. No, there's always a good safety aspect, but you're right. We've had several linemen school, one through a community college, and then one through our statewide training organization. That's kept him occupied, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are discussing, a lot of members have had comments and questions about Northcentral Connect. When am I going to get it? Who's next? Why don't I have it yet? So, I mean, we're going to address all of that today. So
I've had some of those same questions, you know, where I live. I don't have it myself.
I'm outside of the service area.
We'll get there.
I'm all the way up there in Memphis. So
Give us time.
Yeah, exactly. So if you are in the Hidden Grove area, you might have seen some signs. You might have, if you guys are following us on social media, we're working. That's the bottom line is we are working as fast and as safely as we can. But Kevin, I will go on and let you just take over the conversation.
Just kind of take it over, okay? I'm
Tell
bad
us how
about
difficult
that.
it is.
Justin, I'll tell you, fiber's difficult, and but we knew that going into it, and we've had some surprises, but nothing has completely come out of left field. If you recall, when we passed the legislation and then went to the membership and basically asked permission to start getting into this business, we said it's going to require a tremendous amount of patience. To put it into context, North Central started building its electric distribution infrastructure in 1950. So we got basically a 71-year-old system in value of somewhere around $150 million. The project that we're undertaking is trying to build an infrastructure that strongly resembles that, parallels it in many areas, and try to do it more in 5 to 6 years. So you can see the difficulty in that just the way it is. Questions that we have, a lot of them are location. Why we started, where we started, the thoughts behind that. And usually I tell folks there's not really a right or wrong answer. We could have started in multiple different areas, but something that we have to do is we start where our substations are. Several years ago, we built a fiber ring that connects all of our substations. So that brings in, and for lack of a better word, I call it wholesale internet. We're able to wholesale an internet product into our fiber ring, bring it into our huts, and then distribute it from our huts, much like we do the electrical distribution system. We had a hut that was placed in the Byhalia area, and we were able to build out of that hut. One of the major thoughts behind the legislation that allowed us to get in this business was that we needed to serve the underserved, and that probably describes that area greatly. It's not the most rural of the rural. It's not the most urban of the urban, but it was underserved, and it's what I often refer to as an unincorporated urban type area. So our first phase did go west out of Byhalia. We kind of deemed it the Ingram's Mill phase. A lot of people moved in that area, but the majority of them did not have high-speed internet. We were able to pursue several grants that were offered, and one came through that really made the most sense for us. And when you're looking at a $150 million project, you can say all day the significance of a $3 million grant, but at the same time, $3 million is $3 million. So we didn't turn it down, and we actually matched it. And that area to serve with grant money was in this Ingram's Mill type area coming west out of Byhalia. So we came west out of Byhalia. If the phases go as we hope to go out west, north of Byhalia, a little area south. And when I'm saying west of Byhalia, that's taking you into Ingram's Mill and parts of DeSoto County, easing up toward that Miller, Lewisburg type area. And that's going to be the phase that comes in after we pick up some areas south of Byhalia. We are trying to pick up those areas that lack service right now. We acknowledge that at some point we're going to have to look at getting to the high dense urban areas where there's already providers. And we're also going to have to look at getting into the very, very rural areas that have absolutely nothing. So we'll probably have to get into the very rural areas, as I say, sooner than later. Also, people that are asking for our service are people that don't live in our service area. And telecommunications being a deregulated market, technically we can do that. It gets a little bit more complicated. But those people that live outside our service area, an example, the Entergy area, we are designing our system to where we'll have the capacity to potentially dip down there and get some of them. And the same applies for people that live in the northeast part of Marshall County. I say Marshall County, the northeast part of our service area, in that Casey area, could slip over into the Holly Springs district for those people that don't have any high-speed internet. So the location, you can make a point and said, well, maybe you should have started in the most rural area. Well, we really need to pick up a certain number of customers right out of the gate to have a revenue stream that allows us to move forward. You could make a case that it would have been a good business decision to go to the most dense part of our area, those areas that are in Olive Branch and portions of South Haven. Well, that wouldn't have been a bad approach, but at the same time, if we're trying to, it's a cooperative, if we're trying to get a service to those that don't have it, that really doesn't serve the purpose. So we hope to get to everybody soon. Like I said, we're hoping for 5 to 6 years. And the more success we see in the product, the more in a position we will be to throw more resources at delivering the product. And this kind of gets into we'll move from location into timing. The project in some ways is going fairly fast. In some ways it's going slow. We are having a lot of success, and thank you subscribers for showing interest. That lets us plan the phase we need to go to next. And I've gone through this scenario or the process, but I'll run through it again real quickly. We select an area. We do preliminary engineering work. Then we do what we call make-ready work, where we have to change out some poles that can't accommodate the fiber. There's not enough space on there, or the structure just needs to be changed out anyway. We trim the trees in that area to make sure the right-of-way is an area where we can install the fiber and maintain it. And then we start that mainline construction. All of that moves fairly quickly. Mainline construction moves really quickly. We've got some installers that actually do the installs for the product in your home after you've asked for the service. They do a great job. They can do anywhere from 8 to 10 installs a day if everything's going well. We do have a bottleneck, however, and that's getting the service drop, and that's the drop from the main line to your home. There's multiple reasons why this is taking some time. And the first way I'll start off by saying is fiber is very complex when you're dealing with incredibly small strands of glass and you're managing light going through these glass. It's a complicated process, more complicated than transporting electricity. And a good friend of mine, Keith Carnahan, up in Tennessee, used the analogy of building a home. And I would probably take credit for this, but Keith's a good guy, he may be listening. But it was a great analogy. And he says, often if you build a home, you've got the slab and the framing and some of the exterior work goes so fast. And you think that you're making such great progress. But we all know, if you've ever built a home, that once you get the house in the dry, it slows down considerably when you get into the little minute details of building a home. And that's how a fiber system is. The make-ready, the engineering, the right-of-way, the mainline strand construction goes really well. The drops are slow. Part of this is a labor issue. There are fiber projects going on all throughout the United States with electric cooperatives. So there is a certain labor issue. And we're trying to correct that right now. We are looking at bringing in additional resources. The thing is, we've got to monitor these new crews. And I'll back up just a little bit. We probably would have brought in resources earlier if they were available. But the availability of these crews is something very difficult to come by. But we've talked to some that do various types of electrical type construction. They're getting in the fiber drop business. Others are in it and seeing a little bit of ease in their workload so they can come work for us. So we're going to throw additional resources. But additional problems that we have is most of our drops at some point will be underground. And that slows the process down because it's not like electricity where we're going to run an underground service to your home in all likelihood before you've received other services. This fiber drop is going to come into a home that has been there for some time, and you've already got electricity, water, perhaps natural gas, another source of telecommunication all coming in. So we got to know where that stuff is because we don't want to cut it and have our new fiber customer go through the inconvenience of doing without water, or obviously we can locate our own electricity, but water and telecommunications, and hopefully not natural gas because there's a certain danger, element of danger there. And a lot of homeowners, when we ask, aren't really sure where these services come in. And that makes sense to me too. A lot of people buy a home, they didn't see it under construction, and they just don't know where some of these services are. So it is a slow process to try to locate these multiple services that are coming in underground so we can be that last one coming in, or what we hope is the last one coming in, and make sure that we do it effectively so that we're not cutting stuff and having to repair stuff. So it's just time consuming. We are hoping that in about another 2 weeks, we'll have an additional drop crew, and then we're talking to some others. So not to belabor the point, we got a lot of things going good, getting our drops to your home. We are doing a good job. We're just not doing a quick job. And with fiber, we want to make sure that we are doing quality work. The splicing is spot on because we don't want your first experience with our product to not be a good one. Mm-hmm. When we advertise a certain speed, we want you to realize that speed, and you don't have to call us back and we got to go out there and check splices and whatever else may be contributing to any reliability issues you may have. So we want the product to roll out. We want it because our members want it. And as we all say, when we got someone that calls in and they're upset because they want a product that we can supply. So that's really a good thing. We just got to work and make sure that we satisfy that demand. We want to get it out there quick to satisfy the member. And as I said, if we get revenue coming in, that just puts us in a greater position to put out more fiber. So I hope for those of y'all that have had questions, this answers some of them, and realize that we're going to be deliberate, but we're going to do a good job, and we're going to try to speed it up some. We recognize and see where the problems are.
Let me elaborate a little bit on what you just said about reliability. Our members know that and expect a certain level of service from us, and reliability and restoration times, and with our electrical services, and we are designing our fiber and telecom services in that same way, and we've got certain standards that we want to adhere to. And that's why we're going through more strenuous testing of those fiber splices and doing dual testing of light, making sure it's passing through, because we want to have that same service experience with our telecom subscribers as we do with our electric members. So that adds a little bit to the delay in construction. And, it also translates to the actual physical equipment that we've got out there, our plant. You said our system was built in 1950. Well, we've got poles out there that are 40 and up to 50 years old. We're actually going through in this make-ready work, and when we're trimming right away, we're going in, and you may see crews replacing poles along the lines in very rural areas. I mean, to date, we've replaced 233 utility poles to support this investment in fiber.
And that hardens our electrical system.
It does. So it's a greater good for the entire membership, and we're really taking this opportunity to do it right. So we appreciate everybody's patience and understanding. We'd love to be able to be doing 40 in-home installs a week, and we're going to get there at some point. Maybe even more, but right now we're kind of averaging anywhere from 20 to 30, and those drops are slowing. They're not where we want to be. We've gotten them up. Weather has hampered that somewhat because seems like we get a rain about every 3 days here lately.
You know, and as opposed to running an electric service to where the house is under construction, if you run a service into a house that's been there for a while and you've got the weather that we've had recently, our vehicles will rut the yard up some.
That's right.
And we try to do the best we can to repair that. And I know there's a lot of consumers that say, I want fiber really bad. Come on in, tear the yard up if you have to. And sometimes that mindset changes a little bit when we get ready to leave the job scene. But we understand that going into it. So that slows us up a little bit. It's trying to make sure that we're not doing too much damage to some of these nice yards that we have out there, especially as everything's starting to grow now.
Yeah. And everybody's going to notice pretty soon some changes to our website, especially under the service availability tab at northcentralconnect.com. And that's that map. That's that service map that everybody's going to and trying to see whether they've changed from orange to green, which means you're in construction. And most all of that Ingram's Mill area is in construction along the Red Banks Road, Bahia Road area, all the way up to Bahia Creek Farms. And then if you continue on into Bahia, we're starting to do construction in part of the Bahia North phase, which is the phase 1A. We're gonna simplify this. We're gonna rename these phases, and you'll know.
Bahia North.
Bahia North, Bahia South, and right now we've got 4 phases out there that are all at some point in the process, whether it's engineering, make ready, or construction.
And a great way to describe it is kind of like my buddy up in Tennessee said, when you see that fiber going down the poles on a road in front of your house, that's the framing. Mm-hmm. And start getting excited because it's an exciting thing. But remember, that's the framing. There's a lot of splicing that has to be done on that part of the system, and then, so we start trying to do the drop. So it gets very slow and cumbersome from that point on.
Well, since we mentioned it, we had a member ask a question. Are we moving sequentially by number in each of these phases? Are we going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? No. Because
you see phase 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that does not necessarily mean that's next.
And you'll see the names of the phases. We've already done it internally for our communications, but as we present it to the public, you'll see the phasing name identify more with that geographic area to make a little bit more sense. But like your question said, we identified a phase 1, and then per the grant really needed to move in a little bit different direction. So my daily engineer joke, only an engineer could say that we're going to start in phase 1B and then followed up with 1A and then possibly 3, then 2.
Yeah.
So,
and I guess you could summarize it all by saying building a fiber network, building a telecom network is not as simple as just beaming a signal to you. It's actually, you start from point A and build physical fiber and glass out to point B, and then you distribute it.
You have to consider
from there.
The capacity of that area and
That's
make
right.
sure that your fiber size will serve that. So it's. I told y'all when we passed this bill several years ago, I'm going to say the phrase, it's complicated a lot.
Mm-hmm. And
So I'll
is.
say it again, it's complicated.
We do have a new development, though, that I wanted to report. We're kind of getting much closer to offering that home telephone service. We've got some successful testing of that voice over telephone service. And for those people who pre-registered for that service, you will be getting it soon. And within soon, I mean 6 to 8 weeks probably. So we're doing the final provisioning of that. And so that's an exciting move that we've got reported this week.
Okay. NorthCentralConnect.com is where you need to go to pre-register, show the demand for your area. 662-932-3500 is the number to call if you have any questions about your existing service or any questions you may have for future service. One of the things that we love to, and we have an article on in one of the past issues of Today in Mississippi, the Cut the Cord plugin that we have. You know how many options there are for getting rid of your TV service right now? How many streaming option packages there are out there? 400 quadrillion.
I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what a quadrillion is.
Is
that more than the national debt?
It goes million, billion, trillion, quadrillion. So that's.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I've looked at cutting the cord, and it's so confusing. So I'm thankful that we have that tool because, you can poll and your family and decide what programming you want to watch. You can key it in, and it prescribes for you the services to go to. And there's even some special offers on there.
Oh, absolutely.
As long as I get the Cardinals and Michael gets Monday Night Raw.
Amen.
We'll be in great shape.
Well, I think there's options for both with 400 quadrillion choices there. And if you follow us or if you subscribe to Today in Mississippi, we've been putting out some articles on. We talked about it. In 1950 they provided the first service member with electricity, and there's okay, I can turn on a light bulb. Well, you can do this and this and this too. So, there's a series of articles we've been writing this year on, connecting your home security system or working from home or, any telemedicine is one that
I actually got a comment from a friend of mine that said that when they got their high-speed service through Northcentral Connect, she didn't realize that her children had so many friends because they were now coming to their house to game and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And, that was similar back, of course, I realize I'm old, but when cable came to this community, when someone got MTV, all of a sudden they were the popular kid and everybody was at their house.
It's the new pool.
It is. It certainly is.
Yeah.
Another question that I was asked and we've got some telecom providers in the area that are getting very aggressive in rolling out their product as well. Mm-hmm. And I've had several people say now, if Connect can't get to my area in a certain amount of time, I've really got to consider some of these competing providers. And obviously, that's your decision. The one thing I tell them, the one jab I take is I'll just say, just don't sign a long-term contract.
Yep.
Just don't sign a long-term, unless you really like the terms of the contract. If you don't get into a long-term contract and you like what we provide and the pricing and the fact that we are local and locally owned, then don't get too deep into your contract.
That's right.
Yep. All right. So that's about it for us for May. We do have, I know we said we were going to discuss nothing but Connect, but we do have a nice announcement to make. Every year, the NRECA has a competition for communications departments to submit some of their projects they've been working on for the year. If you've seen our green and blue Chevy Bolt around the Olive Branch area, just know that little sucker won an award.
Won a special award.
It won a special award
Yes.
for best graphic design. Every year, I think about 750 communications cooperatives with communications departments. They submit their their best work, and we took the best graphic design for class 2. I don't know what that means. I think it's the size of our cooperative. So yeah. But so we managed to snag an award from the NREC.
And also, since we've gone rogue on our plan here on what we're going to talk about, I do want to take a second to give a recognition to the 10 young men yesterday that graduated from the Northwest Lineman School.
Mm-hmm.
And
The inaugural program of it.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And first year they've had it, and line work has so many opportunities. There's line work for cooperatives, utilities, utility contractors, telecom companies. There's operations, system operations, safety, loss control. Many linemen have gone on to at some point become CEOs. So there's an incredible amount of opportunity. These 10 young men, every one of them, well, right now I think 80% of the class has a job. Mm-hmm. And had job offers halfway through the class. And in all likelihood, once we go through our hiring process, that will be a 100% placement of these young men. Job security, good competitive pay, and it's a great field of work to go in, and we
Benefits.
really, really, really enjoy the partnership that we have with Northwest Community College pulling this school off.
And that was yeah. As I was about to say, the majority, if not all, have got jobs right out of. I mean, some of their employees were showing up to the graduation ceremony yesterday.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it wasn't pomps and circumstance. It was, we're going to show you what these guys have been doing.
Yeah.
And so
That was it.
I did witness one of those future employers congratulating the young man on getting a certificate and said, "I'll see you on Monday morning."
Yep, pretty much.
One started to work today.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So congratulations to those guys. And speaking of employment, follow us on social media. We just posted a job announcement that we have a job opening. So it's, if you want a good place to work, you might want to consider it. But so yeah, social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, coming soon to more probably. All right. That's May. We'll see you in a month.